Dust whipped across the Arizona plains, carrying the scent of sage and dry earth. Ethan rode alone, his horse kicking up clouds of dirt, ears flicking at every sound. The sun blazed high, yet his attention was drawn to a sudden movement near the creek. A flicker of vulnerability in the distance. A figure lay collapsed, half hidden in reeds and mud. As he approached, he saw her clearly, a young native girl, her face streaked with blood and dirt, one arm twisted at an unnatural angle. Fear and instinct mingled in his chest, compelling him to act immediately. He dismounted swiftly, tying his horse to a nearby tree. Kneeling beside her, he murmured calming words, though she understood little English. Her eyes were wide with shock, pride warring with pain, yet she did not flinch as he gently lifted her onto his horse. The ride to his cabin was tense, the girl gripping the reins awkwardly. Ethan kept his movements steady, careful not to jostle her broken arm further. Every creak of the saddle, every shift in weight seemed magnified under the weight of the moment. Reaching his cabin, he carried her inside, laying her gently on a blanket near the hearth. Smoke curled lazily from the chimney, warmth enveloping them both. He fetched water, wetting a cloth to clean the dirt and blood from her skin. Each movement precise, careful, respectful. Her eyes darted around, wary of every object, every shadow. Pride, etched deep by her upbringing and survival, kept her silent. Yet gratitude lingered, evident in the way she allowed him to tend her wounds without resistance. Small gestures conveyed more than words ever could. Ethan tore strips of cloth, fashioning a makeshift bandage for her arm. His hands were steady, fingers gentle, each knot tied with purpose and care. Pain flinches occasionally marred her features, but she endured, silently acknowledging his skill and patience without a word. He offered her a bowl of water and bread. Though she initially hesitated, unsure she could trust kindness from a stranger. Her hand trembled as she accepted, and Ethan's soft nod encouraged her, a quiet reassurance that she was safe for now. Night fell over the plains, shadows lengthening across the cabin walls. A fire crackled softly, casting warmth and light. Ethan sat nearby, vigilant, ensuring her comfort. Every glance exchanged spoke volumes, gratitude, curiosity, and a tentative bond forming between two souls from vastly different worlds. Through the long night, Ethan kept watch. He stoked the fire, listened to the wind, and monitored her breathing. The responsibility weighed heavily, yet he did not waver. This act of compassion was instinctual, not heroic, yet the depth of its impact would soon become clear. Dawn approached, painting the sky with streaks of rose and amber. The girl stirred, eyes meeting Ethan's with hesitant acknowledgement. She spoke softly in her native tongue, gratitude flowing in a language he did not fully understand. Yet he recognized sincerity in tone and gesture. In the stillness of her posture, Ethan offered more food, ensuring she regained strength. Her movements were tentative, constrained by injury, but her spirit was resilient. He admired her resolve, understanding that survival had carved a fierceness into her, one that would not easily bow to circumstance. They spent the morning in quiet companionship, her presence teaching him patience and observation. Small gestures, adjusting a blanket, offering water became shared rituals. Each act, though mundane, solidified trust, slowly bridging the chasm between strangers and companions bound by circumstance. Outside, the plains stretched endlessly, golden in morning light. Birds called across the mesa, and wind swept the grass in rhythmic waves. Ethan paused to take in the vastness, reflecting on how this encounter, brief yet profound, had altered the trajectory of his otherwise solitary life. The girl's eyes occasionally wandered to the horizon, as if contemplating a world beyond the cabin. Ethan sensed questions unspoken, stories untold. He did not push. He allowed silence to speak, understanding that respect was as vital as care. By midday, she attempted to stand, testing her arm and ankle. Pain contorted her face, yet determination prevailed. Ethan assisted cautiously, guiding her with steady hands. Each step she took reinforced a subtle, growing understanding. She was not merely a survivor of injury. But of circumstance and fear, hours passed, and a tentative routine formed. The girl's body healed slowly, but her spirit flourished. In turn, Ethan discovered that compassion offered its own reward, a connection deeper than words. An understanding that even brief encounters could leave indelible marks on hearts and futures. Evening fell, and shadows deepened in the cabin. The girl watched Ethan work silently, gathering firewood, preparing a simple meal. Her admiration was quiet, embedded in every glance and small gesture. A reflection of respect and acknowledgement that transcended language and culture. Later, the girl spoke softly, recounting fragments of her life. Stories of family, tribe, and homeland. Ethan listened, attentive and non-judgmental, realizing that trust had blossomed in the shared stillness of hardship, forming bonds that words alone could not create. As night deepened, the wind carried distant sounds of the plains, stirring a sense of both peace and foreboding. Ethan remained vigilant, aware that his simple act of kindness had drawn attention, though he could not yet foresee the arrival of an entire force of warriors. In the quiet, a fragile bond had been forged. Two lives, from different worlds, intertwined by survival, respect, and compassion. Ethan did not yet know the full measure of consequence, but the seed of trust, gratitude, and mutual respect had been planted, ready to grow under the vast Arizona sky. By midnight, both rested. The girl, comforted and warm, and Ethan watchful and protective. Outside, the plains stretched in silence, yet destiny stirred, carrying whispers of warriors on the horizon, foreshadowing trials, honor, and the unexpected consequences of a simple, human act of mercy. Dawn painted the Arizona plains in streaks of gold and rose. Ethan stepped outside, tension tightening his shoulders. The soft morning wind carried dust and whispers, but the thundering of hooves grew louder, echoing across the empty horizon. His chest tightened as he glimpsed dozens of warriors riding toward the ranch. Their presence was commanding, disciplined and awe-inspiring. Spears glinted in sunlight and their horses moved with precision. The girl stood beside Ethan, still fragile but upright, her eyes wide yet calm. She whispered in halting English, voice trembling slightly, "They come for honor, for your kindness." Ethan's heart pounded, unsure whether to fear or trust. The warriors encircled the cabin with practiced efficiency, eyes sharp and calculating. Each man and woman radiated strength and tradition. The girl's whisper explained the truth behind the display, and Ethan felt both pride and humility stir within him. One act had rippled outward, far beyond his imagination. From the center of the formation, a figure emerged, the chief, tall and posing but not cruel. His eyes assessed Ethan carefully, lingering on the man who had risked unknown dangers to save a single life. Silence stretched like a tense cord between them, waiting to be broken. "You saved her life," the chief said, voice low, measured, yet carrying weight. Ethan swallowed hard, nodding slowly, unsure what words could honor the gravity of the moment. The chief's gaze softened slightly, signaling that respect had replaced judgment. Ethan felt a shiver of understanding pass through him. The warriors lowered their weapons subtly, a ritual acknowledgement of Ethan's courage. Their formation shifted, creating space around him and the girl. Gratitude and tradition coalesced into an unspoken covenant, a recognition that bravery and mercy were intertwined, binding them in a way Ethan had never experienced. The girl stepped closer to Ethan, her hand brushing against his arm. She no longer seemed fragile, though her body was still recovering. Her eyes reflected pride, relief, and quiet wonder. He realized her tribe trusted him not because he demanded it, but because his actions had spoken louder than words. The chief moved forward, placing a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "She speaks of your courage," he said, "and of your mercy." Ethan felt emotion rise unbidden, humbled by the acknowledgement. In the span of a single day, a solitary act of kindness had created bonds stronger than he had known were possible. The warriors began a ritual chant, a mixture of song, honor, and gratitude. Ethan listened, feeling the rhythm in his chest. It was not intimidating. It was affirming. The tribe had recognized the human connection, the courage to act without expectation, the heart that refused cruelty. Ethan's gaze met the girl's again. She smiled softly, a mixture of affection and relief. He realized she trusted him now completely. In turn, he felt a protective bond, not born from obligation but from genuine care. Their connection was silent, unspoken, yet undeniable. The chief stepped back, nodding to the warriors. Their eyes lingered on Ethan, a mix of curiosity and respect. Horses shifted beneath their riders, a low murmur rising from the formation. The moment was ceremonial, yet deeply personal acknowledgement of honor earned through deeds. Not claim. Ethan realized the significance of the day. His life, long solitary and quiet, had intersected with another world in a way that could not be undone. Compassion had transformed into respect, and respect into a bond stronger than he had ever imagined. He helped the girl sit on a horse, steadying her carefully. She smiled, glancing at her tribe with gratitude, and then at Ethan, the silent acknowledgement of shared survival passing between them. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also the quiet strength of being trusted. The chief approached again. Hands extended in traditional gesture, offering gifts of respect, blankets, ornaments, and ceremonial items. Ethan accepted, understanding that these were more than objects. They were symbols of connection, recognition, and gratitude beyond words. The warriors began to depart, riding in formation, leaving the girl and Ethan together. Their hooves receded into the distance, leaving silence and a sense of awe behind. Ethan exhaled slowly, heart racing, realizing that he had been tested not by force, but by trust and honor. The girl turned to him, voice gentle yet firm. Your kindness. It changed everything, she said. Her eyes, still carrying traces of fear, reflected hope and determination. Ethan nodded quietly, understanding that saving her had changed him as much as it had changed her. They walked back toward the cabin, her steps slow but steady, leaning on him for support. The morning sun bathed the plains in warm light, illuminating the beauty of survival, connection, and the fragile threads that tied them together. Ethan paused, looking over the horizon. The plains stretched endlessly, but they felt smaller now, contained, tethered by bonds stronger than solitude or fear. He realized that life alone had prepared him to act, but compassion had taught him purpose. The girl sat beside him near the porch, looking out over the land. Silence enveloped them, yet it was comforting, filled with the weight of unspoken understanding. Trust had been forged, and it would not easily break. By midday, the girl attempted to stand without support. Pain flickered across her features, yet determination won. Ethan stayed close, offering steady hands and reassurance. Together, they moved across the ranch, symbolizing survival, strength, and the unbreakable bonds of shared experience. Night fell. Stars illuminating the Arizona sky, casting silver light over the plains. Ethan and the girl sat together by the fire, a quiet serenity in their presence. The tribe's respect had left an indelible mark on both their spirits, one that promised connection, loyalty, and mutual understanding. Ethan realized then that his act of saving a life had not only altered one destiny but had reshaped an entire community's perception. Mercy had become honor, kindness had become respect, and courage had become a shared bond, a legacy etched under the vast western sky.